As you can see, I'm getting ready to head out to a park here to try to cook instead of cooking in my vehicle today. And the reason for that is just found out this morning that Blue has water pump issues. It's leaking and overheating. So after spending a lot of money on coolant that just basically leaked out, I am going to try to cook out here at this park. What I was looking for is like that. I don't know if you can see that pavilion out there, but it's got a electrical outlet, and I'm hoping that they left the power on. So I'm gonna go check that out, and if it's on, I'll be able to cook a meal to eat out here without running the vehicle. And this is another benefit of having an electrical cooking system that you can take with you and cook. So we're gonna try to cook a meal up here. Stay tuned. I tested the plug here at the rice cooker, and it came on, so we're in luck. The electricity's on, and we're gonna cook up two things at the same time. We're actually gonna cook up some white rice, because they have two rice cookers here that I've removed from Lil Blue too. And believe it or not, we're gonna have the T-bone steak. Yeah, look how cheap I got it. It was normally $11.52, and it got marked down twice, so $6.68 off. I'm getting it for $4.84. Can you believe that? I'm eating a steak that's normally $11.52 for $4.48. And believe it or not, I'm going to try to cook that inside a rice cooker. So stay tuned to watch me cook the T-bone steak and the rice and have a really nice meal here on this day. Even though it started off with me finding out that Lil Blue 2's water pump is out. So, sheeshing, I'm going to have to spend some money on that, as well as some new tires. Thank goodness I am currently working and have some money and can afford to get these fixes done. Otherwise, I'd be totally screwed. The other good thing is, originally I was going to cook it inside the van, which I did cook the other night. But, you know, that's when I noticed the overheating had started to occur. I thought it was maybe some kind of weird radiator leak somewhere or hose leak, but it turns out it's the water pump, or at least the mechanic says it is the water pump. So I'm going to be having that looked at here very soon tomorrow. In the meantime, though, because I'm cooking with electricity, and Florida parks, a lot of parks have electrical outlets at these kind of pavilions, and sometimes they leave them on for you. So I can actually cook here for free every day if I wanted to. You know, just bring my stuff out here, park and cook, and eat out here. So that's another benefit for those of you who question or ask why I prefer to use this versus a propane or butane system, which I do have and will be using in some future episodes. But I prefer electricity because to me it's cleaner, it's free. And, you know, when I'm driving the van, it makes electricity. So I can cook essentially for free. And in situations like this, I can actually set up a little tiny kitchen and cook some food. So stay tuned. I'm actually cooking a little bit more rice than normal. I added, I don't know if you can see the level here. It's probably about, let's see, I can't read the notches on here, but, and you can see I added a little bit of water. I don't know if you can see how much. It's like probably about a quarter inch, a little bit under a quarter inch over the rice level. That's how much I'm using to cook. And the reason I'm doing that, I'm cooking a little bit more than normal right now, is because I'm planning on making, this is dirty and needs to be cleaned, but it's all right. I'm going to be cooking this rice for today's breakfast, or rather brunch, and then I plan on having some leftover rice and leftover steak that I'll be eating. So I'm going to eat some of it today, for right now, and the rest will be cooked and ready for me to eat, you know, when I take my lunch break at work. So basically I'm making two meals right here. Now you'll notice this T-bone steak is a little too big to fit into a rice cooker. So what we're gonna have to do is actually trim off the bone, which is kind of sad because, you know, one of the joys of having T-bone steak is being able to eat it with the bone on there, and then, you know, chewing it off the bone. But because we have to squeeze it into the rice cooker, we're going to go ahead and chop it up, and that's what I'll be doing right now. Now, to cook up the steak, I'm simply just cutting it, right out of here, right onto the package. And I'll be taking this little knife to just trim it off, and then putting chunks of it. Well, I may flavor it before I put it in. I'll put chunks of it in there and then flavor it afterwards. So I'm trying to do minimal cooking without carrying too much stuff. I do have my little packet here, which has the seasoning and just all the stuff that I might need. Some plates. And if I wanted to, I suppose I could make buttery home-style mashed potatoes to eat with the steak. But for today, I'm going to have rice because I missed my rice. So we're going to have both rice cookers going, and the meal should be delicious. All right. With a little bit of slicing, I was able to remove most of the meat off the bone here. I do kind of miss having the ability to eat T-bone steak off the T-bone. But maybe we'll do that, have a cooking episode, grilling type episode in the future here, if I can set up another camp or something and grill, unless I can find a park, maybe one of these grills over here, and use that. But for now, what we're going to do is cook it in the rice cooker, and you can see I've cut up the meat into chunks that will fit in there. Now it's just a matter of turning the heat on, and you can see we're using it as a fryer. We're kind of frying it up. Right now it doesn't have any seasoning, and what I'm going to do is actually season it with, of course, our Magical Badia Complete seasoning. And I simply just pour it all over everything. And that's pretty much it. Now, what I'm going to do is flip it over and do the other side, and then let it, put the lid on it and let the whole thing cook up. I simply use a fork and just flip the meat over. And what I'm going to do at this point is just add some more body onto this side. Just season it like that. The body is like a lifesaver. It's like one seasoning I use for everything. It's got salt. It's got, I think, garlic. I don't know. Let's look. It says it's got dehydrated vegetables, garlic and onion, salt, monosodium glutamate, that's MSG, spices, herbs, and tricalcium phosphate, which is an anti-caking agent. I know some people are allergic to MSG, or they feel they are. It doesn't really bother me, and actually, I don't really have issues with it, as far as I know. I had issues, I think, at one Chinese restaurant, but I still ate the food because it was the best food ever. And all it did was kind of give me a little bit of a headache afterwards, and I felt sleepy. But using it in the Badia, it hasn't really given me any issues with headaches or anything like that. And it does make the food taste so much better. So we're going to put the heater on high right now, put the lid on it. And I do need to clean my lids. They're kind of pretty gross looking. And it's just a matter of letting the food cook at this point. The rice is cooking on the rice cooker. The steak is cooking in the other rice cooker. So I'm going to have both dishes pretty much done at about the same time. Rice will take about 15-20 minutes to cook. And the steak I will flip over, in about 5 minutes. Flip it over to the other side and let it evenly cook. Meanwhile, I'll start to clean up and start to set up lunch or brunch. And this is just, for those of you who haven't seen my other cooking episodes, just one of the versatile things that you can do with the, the rice cooker system, because it's electric. And, if I'm like in a hotel or whatever, I can take the rice cooker in there and cook rice. But you can cook so much more than rice. These units are about $15 at Walmart, and all you need is just regular electricity. You can plug it in, and knowing how to hook up the inverter in your vehicle, whether it's a van, a car, truck, or whatever, you can use it to cook and have the flexibility of going to a park like this and cooking a full-blown meal if you wanted to. I have two of them going at the same time, so I'm able to cook pretty much as fast here as I can if I were cooking in a house. Now, the luxury of the system is I can use it in my vehicle while I'm driving, and it saves time. It's one of the issues that people may not realize if they've never really lived in a vehicle. is that time, is of essence. It takes time to go take a shower. It takes time to cook. It takes time to do anything. Like right now, I'm cooking and I'm having to wait at a park. Can't really do much else other than sit here and wait. So having the ability to cook in my car as I'm driving to go take a shower or heading to work or whatever saves me that time. And cooking the rice can take as long as 20 minutes or so. And then on top of that, I got to cook a second dish, like usually a meat dish. In this case, it is T-bone steak. And I just still cannot believe how cheap I got it. What a great deal. Look at that. I think it's like 60, 70% off. So always look for these deals when you see these yellow tags at Walmart and make a really good savings on it. I'm going to go ahead and pause the video and let the food cook a little bit more and then show you what it looks like here in just a moment. While the food is cooking, I thought I'd take a moment to point out some stuff to those of you who are new to van dwelling and traveling around and trying to cook and do these kind of things. A lot of it would depend on your own personal situation. Like if you're traveling on the road constantly, or if you're living in a city trying to stealth camp out there, like, in an urban environment. But always keep your eye out for like local parks and things like that, and whether or not they have pavilions. And if they have pavilions, whether or not those pavilions have like electrical hookups. Some of them even have water. Now, you just hook up the water so you can wash your dishes and things like that. I don't know how it is in other states, but in Florida, pretty much throughout the state of Florida, most of it is free. As long as you're not like living there, they usually don't have a problem with you plugging in and using it, because that's what it's set up there for. Now, this pavilion is actually for rental, but they don't turn off the electricity even when it's not being rented. You obviously would not want to come sit here and plug in every day and look obvious. I mean, like right now I do look like I'm obviously using it, and I don't know if you can see those two trucks. Those are the park attendants, and actually I think one of them may be a park attendant because they got the yellow tag. Both maybe. The other one's like cutting the grass. And they see me out here. They see me with my rice cooker, and it's not a big deal. It's not like I'm doing anything that I'm not allowed to. They have this out so you can use it. And if it is an issue, they'll come and tell me I can't do that anymore. But I've really not had any problems. I did have one in Jupiter where they told me it was meant for the rental people. So I said, okay. He let me finish up, and then I just didn't use that anymore. But as far as here in this park, they don't seem to mind that I'm out here using, the electricity. So that's just a little tip while we're waiting for the food to cook. For those of you wondering what this park is, I think it's called, what park is this? Gosh, I forget the name of the park. I'll have to remember it again. And but it's off Emerson Road in Palm Bay. I think it's not Good Park. Good Park is the other one. I forget the name of this park. I bring my kid here all the time. Used to bring my son to play out here when I was a bit younger. And I can't remember the name of the park. But it is off near Malabar Road and Emerson, just down north of Malabar Road, off Emerson Road, just a little bit, and it'll be on your right-hand side. Very nice park. Those of you who have watched past episodes where, before I started removing videos of my children, my son and I used to come out here and play, and we rode our bikes under the bridge. That's I-95 right there. So those cars whizzing by. So we're very near I-95. Okay, let's go take a look at our food now. It's been about 5-6 minutes, and see how things are cooking up. You can see the rice is steaming and almost done. It is steaming up. The water is boiling. It is steaming and cooking. The steak is cooking and sizzling. Listen to that. Doesn't that just sound awesome? Now what I'm going to do is actually flip the meat to let it cook evenly. So we're just going to flip this over. You can see that's starting to cook on this side. Take all the smaller pieces up here on top. I know, I'm using metal on metal. A lot of you will tell me it's kind of scratching up the coating, and that's poisonous. I know. So I flip the meat and let this touch metal here. Put a piece down in here so it can fully cook. Seems to cook best when there's actual contact. Otherwise, you're kind of baking it, and it'll cook, but not as well. Trying to get this piece here to touch the metal. You hear it sizzling? That's because this is like almost like frying it with the lid on it. So we're kind of semi-frying it, semi-baking it. Now the unit did click back to warm mode for me stirring it. So what I'm going to do is put the lid back on it. And push the rice cooker back here to high instead of warm. And let it cook probably for another 5 or 6 minutes. And take a look at it and see if it's done, because I do like my meat done. Meanwhile, the rice is still continuing to cook and should be done soon. By the way, the rice cooker doesn't really have a preset time on when it gets done. It depends on how much rice you use and how much water. But typically, if I'm cooking for one person, the rice will get cooked in about 15 to 20 minutes. When I cook a little bit more like this, it'll take a little bit longer. With more rice, I don't know, I guess it's a temperature sensor or something and it shuts it off. But essentially the water boils and absorbs into the rice, and some of it escapes as steam. And then the unit shuts off and goes into warm mode. Right now it's still on high mode, so it's still cooking. So it's kind of automatic, and when it's cooking like this, you could, play with your phone or whatever. Unless, of course, if you're like me, you're doing it while you're driving. So hopefully it'll be done soon, and I'll show you guys what it looks like. The rice cooker just popped into warm mode. It went pop, and it's in warm mode. So that means the rice is essentially done. And you can see that all that steam came up as I opened it up. The rice is indeed cooked at this point. I'm wondering if I was a little bit short on water on this side. Anyhow, what I'm going to do is unplug the rice cooker because I don't want it burning. So I just unplug it because it doesn't shut off. It just goes into warm mode. Meanwhile, the steak is still cooking. It looks like it is pretty much done too. Nah, still a little bit red, a little too red for me. Do you see that? So what I'm going to do is make sure this is on high and continue to let it cook just some more. Yeah, I'm gonna let it cook maybe another 5 or 10 more minutes. Unless you like your meat kind of red, which I don't. So let it cook a little bit more here. Put the lid back on it. Set it on high again. Make sure it's on high and let it cook for another 5 minutes. Just so you know what I typically do when I'm cooking out here, I try to clean up as I finish using things. So I took the knife and just washed it off a little bit with water. I didn't even bother with soap. I guess I could. I mean, it's just a matter of wiping it and cleaning it. And I'll be putting the rice cooker and everything up, so all that will remain out here is pretty much these 2 rice cookers and my plates to eat. I try not to leave everything all scattered everywhere, especially when the car is really close by. Although I suppose I could just eat and then take everything back when I'm done, but I might as well start to clean up while I'm just sitting here waiting. So we're waiting for the steak to cook up, and then we'll go ahead and have our meal here in a moment. Here then is the food, all nice and cooked and ready to serve. You can see I've started to scoop things out. I'm going to get some sauce here. Some of the steak sauce, the drippings. This stuff is so good. Pour it all over the meat and the rice. And I'm saving the second piece. I have unplugged the whole system here to let this sit and cool down a little bit. I'm going to pour some of that sauce all over the rice and everything. But I've got some rice that I'm saving for a second meal. And this should be brunch as well as dinner for today while I'm at work. That with a little bit of Mountain Dew to perk me up. Should hopefully fix my kind of a rough start this morning with the car having water pump issues. Make sure you cover this back up. And we are good to eat. Let's take a taste test here. I'll pour some of that sauce on here a little bit more. It's kind of hot. Let me try to grab that and just pour that on here. Doesn't that look so good? Matter of fact, I'm gonna pour all of it because I can't really save the sauce for later. Could heat up the system, but I'm not going to. Alright, that should be enough of the sauce. Set that aside. Put the lid on it. Here then is our meal for today. It is T-bone steak, premium choice. Not just the cheapy stuff, the really nice stuff. And we cooked it fresh with rice. I know, I could use a knife for this, but I'm really minimalist, huh? Let's see here. Let me try another piece. This is what the meat looks like right now, and I think it is done. A little bit sticky here with the fat. You really do need a knife. Maybe I will use a knife. So, it is cooked a little bit red. A little bit red, but not too red. I think it's cooked enough. Sorry about the focus there, folks. Hard to appreciate this meal when it's all out of focus. Anyhow, this is T-bone steak with rice cooked at the park. And let's do our little taste test here. Oh my goodness. This really is good steak. Really good eating for today. When you consider it, for these two meals that I'm getting, it's like about $5 total. Maybe $5.25. That's the same price we'd pay for the Little Caesars pizza. So, getting the meat or the food on sale is definitely worth it when you cook it yourself. So it's something to consider. I'm eating steak, folks, for 2 meals for about $5. And the reason that's possible is I bought it on heavy discount. Managed to find, one that had been double marked down, and was able to take advantage of that. I think it was like 65-75% off. So I'm having essentially a $12 steak for only $3-4. Well, until next time, everyone, I hope you're eating well and staying safe and staying warm. It is about 47 degrees here in Florida right now where I am, and believe it or not, it is cold for me. I do feel for those of you who are up north where it's much, much colder. Thinking of each and every one of you, sending you warm thoughts from Florida, and just hope you have a blessed day. Until next time, everyone, take care, and God bless you.